Jazz with the flavor of the Caribbean and the spice of TNT. This is the Caribbean Jazz Lounge.
Welcome to the Caribbean Jazz Lounge. I'm your host, Andrew Bruce. On today's show, we are honoring a true giant of Trinidad and Tobago's big band era, the legendary Clarence Curvan. This program is a heartfelt tribute to a musical icon who is sadly no longer with us. Now, growing up, I recall seeing Clarence Curvan 45 RPM records in my cousin's collection and witnessing the electrifying energy of the Clarence Curvan Orchestra on the dance floor. For years, I only knew of his music, never seeing an image of him, unlike other band leaders like Joey Lewis or Mano Marcelin. I truly believe that Clarence was no longer active. Then in 2005, after moving to New York, I saw a flyer for a Father's Day fete featuring both the Joey Lewis Orchestra and the Clarence Curvan Orchestra. The flyer even noted it was their first shared stage since 1964. Could it be the same Clarence Curvan? I called a number on the flyer and, to my astonishment, Clarence Curvan himself answered and invited me to his home. Today, I invite you to join me as we delve into Clarence Curvan's incredible musical journey from leading one of Trinidad and Tobago's top dance bands in the 60s and 70s to performing with legendary musicians and backing top American soul singers, and finally keeping the Clarence Curvan Orchestra alive in New York. Let's step into the Caribbean Jazz Lounge. This is jazz with the flavor of the Caribbean and the spice of TNT. Clarence, tell us how you got started in music and ended up as one of the top bands on the big band circuit.
I enjoyed and loved dancing to the extent that I can remember my mother taking me to school fairs at Duke Street EC as a baby, as a little kid. And she'd be dancing and I'd be sitting on the bench, look at her dancing and crying. And she'd bring those little cups with cupcakes and things like that. She never left me at home, you know. And there was a time I remember in the Princess Building days as a child, big orchestras playing in the Princess Building. It was a way where women will go up there at nights and look at fashions, the different design and dresses and things, attending these balls, you know. And I'll be there playing in the fountain in the Princess Building, yeah, there, while she's looking, but I'm hearing music. And when I grew up to be like a teenager, 14, 15, 16, I started going to school fairs, 2 to 6 in different places. I used to keep tabs on where is having a party this Saturday, where is having a party next Saturday. And a group of us will go and enjoy ourselves, dance and, you know, I get to know musicians, start following bands around. And what I can remember, the Sonny Lewis Orchestra, that was one of my favorite bands. And a neighbor of mine played with that orchestra. And they had a dance in Manzanilla.
Where were you living then, in Port
I was living in Port I was in Port I was born in Port Spain, Green Corner, St. Vincent Street boy.
Green Corner, what was the address there?
Well, I was born in 98 St. Vincent Street, midwife, so far as I can remember. But I live at 80 St. Vincent Street. And that's right there adjacent to Green Corner, where all the action and activities in Port Spain took place. I don't know if you're aware of that.
Yeah, I went to Green Corner, yes.
Yeah. So I went to Manzanilla to this dance, and for some reason I went on the stage and started knocking the talk with this band. Sonny Lewis. I get to know everybody in the band. They were my friends. As I said, my neighbor gave the dance. My neighbor's wife gave the dance. He played in the band. And when the dance was over, I was paid $1. The guy gave me $1 for standing on that stage there knocking. And you know what happened? He couldn't get rid of me after that. $1. You know how much money that is at that time?
What year was that?
That's the late 50s, something like 56, 57. I was a young kid. And I stayed right there.
So you stayed with that band for a
I
while?
stayed right there, looking, learning, and just checking out how the percussion instrument. And that was a New Year's night. Then by Carnival Sunday night, I was knocking at Tom Tom. I got $2.50. Well, you know I'm a band member now. I ain't going anywhere, right? Anyway, it stayed like that for quite a while until the band became disbanded, and the youngest brother, Joey, decided to form a band of his own, which took some of the band members. And I was right with him also.
With Joey?
Joey learned the bongos and the drums, etc., And eventually I was called by another band, the Phil Brito Orchestra.
Phil Brito?
Phil Brito, yeah. That was the resident band of Radio Trinidad in those times, in 57, 58. The resident orchestra that they used to play on Sunday Serenade and various shows. But by that time, I was well into the music as a percussionist, you see. And from there, I left Joey and I went with Phil Brito, and I stayed there for some time. Unfortunately, I was called to the Sirius band, I guess due to my performance and my knowledge and experience in the instruments. And it went from there. But I started traveling all over the Caribbean islands with the Sirius Orchestra.
Tell us about some of the names of those bands in that era. And, well, let's go back to, you said you were born in St. Vincent Street.
Mm-hmm.
What year was that? You were born in?
What year?
Yeah.
39.
1939.
Mm-hmm.
And as a teenager, you know, playing music, well, percussions. Call some of the names of the bands that played at the Princess Building in those days when you were hearing them.
Well, I remember one name really, Roy Williams. Roy Williams, I remember another name. Well, when I started going out, it was like Rudy Moore, Carl Eiffel, Sonny Lewis Orchestra, Nev Sampson, Johnny Gomez, quite a few bands, Troy Amming. They were all out there, and we used to enjoy having fun with these bands. And those are some of the names I remember. But big bands in the Princess Building, I remember hearing big sounds like an American band, because bands in those days was using printed scores. They used printed scores from American bands, you know. And that is when Trinidadians was really into ballroom.
Mm-hmm. That's the 50s?
Yeah, the 50s. Then it simmered down to smaller bands.
Is that what they called combo?
No, they weren't combo. Combos were...
They came later?
Was rhythm, guitars, keyboards, and percussion.
Mm-hmm.
These bands had saxophones and trumpet. The majority of bands had two saxophones and a trumpet. Nev Sampson, Johnny Gomez, as I said, Sonny Lewis, Carl Eiffel. These guys, they belonged to small groups, but they were very effective, you know. That I can remember some of the good names or the great names in the field.
Now, you mentioned, you know, Radio Trinidad, the resident band at Radio Trinidad. You know, what was it like then going into the studio and who you worked with there?
Well, you know, we were very British orientated, and they had certain programs on the air at certain times of the day that it was geared to local talent. For instance, we had a program called High Neighbor from 11 to 12 with Sam Ghani, Frank Pardo. They were great men in the field. And they will feature a different orchestra every day. That was a big attraction. Then on Sunday Serenade, that program where local talent was being highlighted.
So you'd come to the studio and perform live?
Yes, you go to the studio and perform live. And the Phil Brito Orchestra was a resident orchestra there. But there were always little groups, little jazz groups, vocals. A lot of our great singers came from that show. Good like Ina Bab, Lucille Mapp, Mona Batiste. You know, they all came from there. And these are people that were highlighted. And from there, they move on to the continent. and did pretty well out there in those parts, you know. But that program did a lot for our local talent.
So, from Cyril Lewis, Joey.
From Sonny Lewis,
From Sonny
I went
Lewis.
across to Joey when he formed his band. I didn't stay there any length of time, really, because he had more his friends and people who he played with. He put them in position. I was looking forward to something a little more than being just a percussionist, but it didn't work out, you see. But by then, I had enough knowledge to handle any percussion instrument. And that's when I got called. I was sent to hold on the night for a guy, and they liked what they heard, and they kept me. And I stayed there. After that, I went across with the Cyril Diaz band, which was much more, you know, it was much more in the limelight. It did all the backups for all the Calypsonians in the tents, the recordings. Everything that was done with Sparrow, Melody, and every Calypsonian, it was done with Cyril Diaz Orchestra. And I made a name for myself in that field as a bongo player there.
Okay. All right.
And one day a young woman met me and she was talking. She said, "You know something? There's a teenage program on The Voice of Ready Fusion, and they're looking for a band." I said, "You kidding?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "I could get a band." And she said, "You sure?" We had Ashton Chambers and Sir Trevor McDonald. They were running that teenage show on mornings, Saturday mornings at 9. There was another show at 1 also. And I told her, sure. But I had a very good friend, Beverly Griffith. And I always passed by his house in the next block and hear him playing his piano. And I went across to him. I said, "Listen, I want to form a little combo group to go on the air. Do we have a program at Radio Trinidad? We could go up there every Saturday and have fun." He said, "Sure." Next to me, where I lived, there was a professor, a music teacher, teaching violin, classics, and whatnot. And he had some abandoned pianos in a bakery section of his, where he lived. Old pianos. And we would go in there, Beverly. I got me a little old drum set. And I got a guitarist, Star Charman. And we went in there and started making music. In 2 weeks' time, we had about 3 or 4 tunes ready to go on the air. And that's when the band was formed, or it was born. It was in infancy stages. It was just a combo, Clarence Curvan combo.
Okay. And this was what year?
This was 60, early 60, early 60. We had a piano, guitar, drums, and I took some of the guys from the street, my friends out there, on bongos, someone on a conga, someone on the maracas, and I used a bass player at the radio station, Kenrick George from the Georges Trio, and he held on with us there for a short while. Then we went on like that, we became favorites. Every Saturday we have 2 radio programs, the name is mentioned on the little group is performing. Then I decided to put on 1 saxophone. I started working with 1 sax. After that, I decided to put another sax. But I had idealized the Sir Duncan Orchestra. Sweet song, sweet tone. It was a leading group at that time. And my aim was to outdo this band by way of tone qualities and whatnot. And I went to Cook Recording. We rehearsed a tune.
Cook Recording.
Cook Recording. They manufactured their own record. Generally, people will send the records to America to be processed and made and sent back. They did their stuff right there on Sackville Street in Port of Spain. Now, in the meantime, I would work with Joey Lewis when he's recording. His bongo player could not be, and I played on most of his records around that time. Because records were being recorded during the daytime, men have to work. The guy wouldn't want to leave his job to go and make a record for a 150 or whatever the story is. So I came in there. And I'll tell you something, there was a particular tune by the name of Teensville, an American ballad by Chet Atkins. And Joey played that song. Unique. I can see the response when you go to dance with him, the people. This record he made with RCA, it was RCA, Samaru, Strand Theatre. And months this record can't hit the market. For months. Joey, what's wrong? The stamper spoiled, it went back up to America. This break, it went back to America. Almost 6 months. The tune is getting old. People is hearing it in dancehall, they're reacting to it, they want this tune. I said, you know something? Let me try this thing. I went down to Cook. I said, listen, I have my little group. I have 2 saxophones. We're rehearsing some tunes. It sounds good. I would like to make a record. Oh, sure, come down. They listen to the band. Oh, you ain't ready yet. You're not ready. Go and do some rehearsals and come back. I said, okay. I went back, did some rehearsals. In the meantime, we have this tune, Teensville, Pat Down. We went into the classics because Ceylon, they had like a lot of classic music, and that was the rage at that time. We took only Make Believe from Showboat. They play. And you won't believe it, we went back to Cook a second time. And they listened. We're going to try this. And that was history. They tried it. We recorded that a Monday evening in November. In the meantime, my little band got 2 bookings. And I charged very cheap because we never played out before. We don't know what is going out to play is like and whatnot. And it so happened that they decided to give me that recording. We did it the Monday night. And the Friday night, that record was ready for release. And their new releases to the public. That tune was played that Friday night. In a matter of 6 days, it was processed and ready for market. And that was a Friday night, 7:15. By midday Saturday, people was knocking the door. This new band, we want to book you, this, that, and that's the way it went. People who listen to this or remember the band will know that Teensville was the hit song. It was a tune that everyone followed after. Eventually, Joey's version came out. But the thing is that it was a tune well known, and we were very much American oriented musically speaking. We would take American tunes and play them in our own tempo of music. And that was one of the big smashes. And fortunately, maybe it was to happen that way. Maybe that is what exactly was to happen to that tune. I brought it out, the first band that played it, on record, released to the public, and the place just went, and the rest is history.
So that cemented Clarence
Curvan
Orchestra
right there
in the minds of the party
everybody.
public.
That's it, and it stayed that way for, according to the saying, donkey years.
What was the recording session like? Was it that the whole band went in a room and they mic'd them up?
The whole band went in the room.
Were they doing tracks then? Or
No. Simple little 2-track Ampeg. Square little box. Reel to reel. A microphone here for the horns. And there's a microphone right there by the bass and the piano. That's it. That's it. Everything came through those 2 microphones. That's it. It improved after a few years to 4 tracks. Who could afford to send to America to get a 4-track? And it went on that way until it reached to where it is now.
So now you're getting gigs to perform at, apart from the radio station. What were some of the popular halls in and around Port of Spain that you performed?
Well, just about everywhere. The band became quite popular. And it was swallowed up, so to speak. I mean,
What were some of the halls in Port of Spain, or the popular
oh,
halls?
we
for
had Seaman
fests?
and Waterfront. We had the Legion Hall at that time. Seaman and Waterfront. A lot of schools, you know, will have their children fair. We call them fair, 2 to 6 or 2 to 8.
Right.
St. Margaret's, Nelson Street, to different schools. And it was a very young band because I was the youngest band leader in the country. I was just 18.
So you were younger than Joey?
Yeah.
Okay.
I am younger than Joey. I am about 2 years, 2 or 3 years. Nothing much.
So you were the hip band?
Well, put it that way, the teenage, the group, that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was the youngest band. It was a very young band though. Men like Roy Cape. Roy Cape was about 19 at the time. Beverly was no older than that. We had Darlington Brown. The eldest member in the band was Conrad Little.
Those are some of the members of your early band?
Yeah.
Okay. Now Beverly went on to arrange for Despers and...
Desperados.
Right.
Yeah. And other bands.
Roy Cape. So when you started bringing in brass, who was the brass players you brought in?
Well, I had Roy Cape, Lloyd Benjamin. Then I increased the size of the band. I brought in Ron Berridge on trumpet. And then I went further by putting a trombone. After a few years, I brought in Lloyd Irish on trombone. And that was it.
So how was the biggest your band ever got to?
2 saxophones, 2 trumpets, and 1 trombone. I moved from at various stages.
So you're about a 10-piece band then?
10, 11.
10, 11.
With full rhythm and percussion. But I moved from one. I never stayed in the same situation or position too long. My music kept improving in different ways.
But you were a percussionist.
Yes.
Where did you get your musical knowledge from?
Right, this is very good. I had keyboard training from Norman Simmons. Oh, he was one of the most popular keyboardists in the country. And my mother sent me to a woman in Belmont. She did piano lessons, and I did the Hemis beginners classes and things, and then I went to Norman Simmons after. So, I mean, I'm the kind of person that never have to excel and show what I know, and you know, I love percussion. I was a very good drummer. I was a drummer in demand, as a matter of fact. I went into jazz before I went into dancehall music on that particular instrument, because it was the likes of Rupert Clemendor, Skip Thomas, Fred Callender. They were all into the jazz field, Schofield Pilgrim, and these guys. And I was in that bracket. We had a sort of superior ear to the average dancehall person. That is before I really went into the dance arena with my band, see? And I handled it pretty well.
Right. Now you said you played in the Calypso 10, so you played with
Well,
Sparrow.
being with Cyril Diaz, I had two seasons in the Calypso 10. And I had extensive tours throughout the Caribbean. And that was one of the reasons that I decided to put a little band together, because I was traveling a lot. And you'll think that as a young fella I would grab the opportunity and stay there. But there was something in me more than traveling. You know, this idea of leadership somewhere along the line, and I'm that kind of person. Look, I went to school. Without being asked, I ended up being the captain of the football team, Western Boys RC School. When cricket came, I saw my name on the board as the captain of the cricket. Just about anything that
A natural leader.
I went into the Red Cross. Before long, I was 3 bars, a section leader. And that's how my life was evolved around leadership. And yes.
So you are a natural born leader.
You know, this is what I see, because just about everywhere or anything I did, it boiled down to that. You know, I'm not a composer, a writer, or a great reader in the field, but I have the fundamentals. And I know what is right from what is wrong from a musical point of view. But I adore being a percussionist, and I just love the vibrancy in percussion music. And that's where I stayed. I just couldn't wait to complete a full course of theory or practical with any other instrument. I just had to get up and go. And that's how it went. I just had to get up and keep on going. And I went up and it paid off, it worked.
All right. So you now move from radio, you're doing the tents, and you're now touring.
I have my own orchestra.
So your first tours was with your own orchestra?
No.
Or was it with Cyril?
With the Cyril Diaz Band.
Where did you tour to?
All the Caribbean islands, including Guyana.
So you're doing Calypso on all these islands. So the Calypsonians are touring.
Yeah.
Then you got your band.
As soon as my band came out my band was formed in April 60. Our first record came out in November 60. I kept rehearsing a band within that period. And when that record came out and the demand for services of the band became so popular, everybody just united and took it very, very serious. And
so where was your first tour outside Trinidad and Tobago as the Clarence
Curvan
Orchestra? Yeah.
from 61.
61, where did you go to?
We started touring Grenada, St. Vincent, and we did that every year. Every year, Grenada, St. Vincent, Antigua, up and down the Caribbean, at different times of the year, not just for once for the year. We would have 3 or 4 gigs per year in each of these islands.
So at that time in the 60s, was music your only means of income, your livelihood?
Absolutely.
Music was your life?
Absolutely, while in Trinidad. Absolutely, and I'm paying for it now because we never had to lift a straw for anyone and anything. When the band came together, none of the members, everybody, we just rehearse on a Wednesday evening. We play out on a Saturday night, Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, or Saturday and Sunday, whatever. Or we hang out by Green Corner all day, from morning looking at the girls go by. Up and down, schoolgirls and having fun out there. Nothing. When I got here, as a resident, I couldn't get it into my mind that you're supposed to get up in this country and get out there and do something. Because it was very difficult to survive on music here. Anyway, and it still is.
Well,
very difficult.
There wasn't the amount of gigs and traveling.
It is not a matter of the gigs. It is not a matter of the gigs. It's a whole different ball game in this country. It's not easy as a Caribbean orchestra orientated orchestra to survive and function in that field here. But after traveling for quite a while, some of my members left.
By now you had an album or just that 45?
By now I have 4 albums out. That's as far as about 66.
66. You had 4 albums.
Countless singles. By then Ron Berridge left and formed his own orchestra. Roy left with him. So I had to reshuffle. I have to find a new sound and a new approach. Fortunately, I came into contact with Clive Bradley. You see, one of the things that hurt me at Bradley's death is the fact that people know Bradley as a steel bandsman, a steel band arranger. Bradley is one of Trinidad and Tobago. We're one of Trinidad and Tobago. I didn't know how to describe him as a musician. But anyway, after Beverly left for the States, Clive Bradley took over the arranging and writing for this band. And it was a whole different era in Trinidad. The soul era was there. The Otis Redding, the Percy Sledge. And you know Trinidad, they adore these people here. They didn't used to think about their own people, they think about these people here. Everybody wants to sing like Sam Cooke. Every singer wants to sing like Otis. I mean, the works.
Right.
You're getting all the antics and the movements of these. Our local guys and girls were carrying on like that. So I decided, well, this is a soul country, so I'm going soul too.
Everybody, dance for me. Everybody, dance for me. every night. Smoke this every pipe. Smoke this every night. Smoke this every pipe.
So in the mid 60s,
I went straight into
soul.
big time soul music to the point where the band that would open for American artists when they go to Trinidad. This is documented, by the way. Clarence Curvan Orchestra. Played with Percy Sledge, played with Arthur Conley. All American singers that come to Trinidad.
By then they're performing where? In Trinidad? Those big
PSA.
shows, PSA.
That was most of the shows at PSA, the Penthouse. Then again, I was the first band to be sponsored, first dance orchestra in Trinidad to be sponsored, or maybe the Caribbean for that matter, to be sponsored by a recognized firm, or a firm in general. Fernandez and Company decided to sponsor this group. And we got uniforms, a stipend, anything that we wanted.
So you're living large.
Pretty. We played for 14 months at the Penthouse every Sunday to a sellout crowd. So much that they started charging to come in there. The crowd, it was such, they had to turn people back at certain times. Most of the time, every weekend, people come from east, west, north, and south at the Penthouse in Port of Spain, upstairs of Salvatore. We
What
played
year
there
was
from
that?
2 to 7. What a year. Oh, that went down like 67, 68. And all foreign entertainers that come in, I had the privilege to be the opening act and to perform for these people.
I want to go back to broadcasting because I remember talking to Holly and
Which Holly?
Holly Bitodi.
Bitodi?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And vaguely remember at some point in time on TDT, probably at the studios, they had a dance program there at TDT. I don't know if he was responsible for it or what, but again, it ties in with the whole entertainment industry and the things that were happening with the bands in Trinidad at that time.
Yes, we did quite a few shows with Holly and Hazel Ward also. There was a program, I can't remember the name of the show, but I did quite a few things with Holly on TTT and also shows outside. He was one of the people that supported this group very much. Holly Bitodi, Sam Gani, and a few others, yes.
The band is changing, things are happening. You did the 67 to 68 circuit at Salvatore, the Penthouse. What's next for what's next for the band, the orchestra?
Oh well, Triming, the owner, opened a new club in Bermuda. Yes, and I was fortunate to be invited for the opening. And we went out there. It was nice. It wasn't a full orchestra. It was a nightclub setting. And we stayed there for 3 months. And on my return, well, I was contracted by the Hilton every year. New Year's Eve, I was the resident band for 7 or 8 years at the Trinidad Hilton on New Year's Eve night in the main ballroom. So I had to get back to, that was in September when he opened the club, I had to get back to Trinidad in time to do my performances at the, that was 68 at the Hilton. And it so happened that Sam Gani came to me and he said, listen, I have a nice contract for you. The Ministry of Tourism in the Bahamas needs an orchestra. I said, you got me. You got me. And we departed for
You
Nassau.
and your Trinidad band.
Yes, for Nassau. We left to go to Nassau. And we worked there for 18 months. And again, I had the privilege of doing the backup music. You see, there were important acts from Miami and New York, but not with their orchestras because they have a resident band. So they will bring in the act to perform. But I was responsible for doing the music So they would bring their music scores, and my men would read the scores, and we would accompany these singers, namely Sledge, Carla Thomas, Tyrone Davis, Johnny Taylor, and these were top vocalists in the soul era out here. And I had that Clarence Carter. I had that distinguished privilege of performing behind these guys. So, I mean, when they come to think of it, I just don't want to go out like I see most musicians, band leaders or entertainers in Trinidad and Tobago, just go out like this and there's nothing known. They did wonderful things. We had great musicians, fellas like Roderick Bord, Cyril Diaz, Johnny Gomez, you know, Sel Duncan. These fellas just passed. That's it. You know, and there's so much to talk and discuss where my little group was concerned. One of the things I think I accomplished too, Ray Sylvester won the Band of the Year, Best Music Band on the Road for Carnival many times. Cyril won it many times. Mano Maslin won it several times. I never won the major contest. But I remember one year, and I have it documented again, Newsprint. I was the best Juve orchestra. Best Juve orchestra, the Carnival. Best orchestra downtown. And second in the national contest in the Savannah. That year I came off with three prizes, 2 first and a second. And I don't think that have been accomplished by anyone else.
And you're talking there now about the Brassorama competition?
Not Brassorama, no.
Were you around for Brassorama?
No, I was in this country, but I appeared there once.
Okay. Right.
We went to Trinidad in '75, and I entered the Brassorama. But I didn't enter there to beat anybody, to be a winner. I just went to expose myself, let people after 6 or 7 years hear that the band is still in existence, and we went in there. That's all.
When those bands were on the road back then, what was it like? You're on the truck, I'm assuming, I don't know.
No, sorry.
You're walking?
No, sorry.
Okay, tell us about that.
You will walk. Now, I had one of the top bands in the country, so I will get the best of musicians to play with. They used to walk. Men with saxophone, trumpet, and trombones. Drums, a bass drum in a man on a guy's chest, a snare drum in a guy's hand, iron or whatever. We used to steal the Orange Man cart, and we'd go and rent batteries and put the bass speaker box and the guitar box in the hand cart and pay pushers to push it along the road so we could get some rhythm.
And that was the brass band on the road?
That was a brass band on the road. And strangely enough, the top musician was demanding $150 for 2 days walking on the road blowing. Top musicians. The best musicians will charge you $150 for 2 days work on the road. The mediocre musician will look for $60 or $80 for 2 days of blowing and walking on the street throughout Port of Spain. And the band leaders were demanding that you get there at 7 in the morning on a Tuesday morning. And when you get back in by 5, 6 o'clock, they want to go around the Savannah too extra. Yeah. It was, I don't want to call it a criminal act, but what it is compared to the... Anyway, when I got my sponsorship, they supplied me with a platform with roof and painted up pretty, so I could have put my keyboard. I bought a generator, put my keyboard and my amplifiers on this. So I had now, again, it was a superior scene because I had a well-built platform on wheels moving through the streets. Okay. You know, and that was something else also. But we had wonderful times. It was great. Then my last 3 years, the trucks came into being. So I got about 3 years of the luxury of a truck to perform it.
And perform. All right, so the technology was coming in.
It was coming in.
So it's around 69, 70 you left.
Yes.
After the gig in Bahamas,
Yes.
you decided to migrate to United
To
States.
migrate to the US, yeah.
What-
It was very easy to acquire the necessary papers to come here. It was,
So why did you want to leave all that action in the Caribbean?
well, I'm not sorry I did. I'll
Mhm.
tell you one thing,
Yeah.
that we perform for tourists. An extremely appreciative audience. We live like lords in these countries out there. And what was really happening, we went into the rum and Coca-Cola, Yellow Bird, and we became making money playing these little simple stuff, you know, All Night Marianne and things like that, and little ballads from America and whatnot. And we just became so relaxed on it that I said, look, it'd be hard to go back and retransform myself into the grind, you know, and I decided to come here. After about 2 years, I put a band together.
So the band had to disabandon
Some,
after.
yeah. Some came here, some went, some stayed there, and some went home, went back home. You know. And when I got back here, when I got here, as a matter of fact, I tried putting something together, and it did get back together. But then again, it was a $3 party and a $2.50 party and a $4 party, and it was very difficult to get musicians to rehearse and to stay together. Everybody was running helter-skelter, gigging as much as they could get. A gig here and a gig there, and no uniformity. I held out for about 6 or 7 years, and in '85 I decided, that's it.
Because during that period, a lot of people back in Trinidad, we had the recordings, but as I was telling you, we couldn't put a face to who's running this band or where the band went to.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something. In the early years of the '70s, I was constantly mentioned in the press. Brunel Jones kept me busy, and Keith Smith and those others just them around, and they kept a lot of information. All my movements abroad was documented there. There were constant stories and different things about what I'm doing on this side, you know. So, but a personal visit, our only visit was in '75, and that was it. And the next time that band went to Trinidad was last year, 2004.
2004.
Yeah.
Now you're playing with Joey Lowe this weekend. When was the last time you two met as a band playing together?
1964. 1964.
How does this make you feel? You and him.
Well, this is nostalgia. It's just that it's happening in America. I'm hoping sometime this year they will repeat it in Trinidad. Well, then that would be the real thing. But we met twice before, as I said, in '64. We met in St. Paul Street in the community center. And it was a tremendous, big event, because everybody has played with everybody, but these two bands, which were from Port of Spain, because it was the same, we were tongue bands. Everybody was waiting for something like this to happen, and it did happen that night in St. Paul Street. I came out with flying colors. And this is the kind of person Joey is. We went back for a second. They brought back the dance, a return. It was like a heavyweight fight.
Mm-hmm.
They brought back a return. And I will never forget it. I mean, it was fun from beginning to end. But when we went out in the ring there, when he started the clout, I never looked back. Oh my goodness. Yeah. He massacred me that night, man. Oh, he did a job on me. It was a lot of fun. It was beautiful. It was
a lot of competition.
A lot of competition. It was a beautiful era. It's an era that I don't think the people, they wouldn't experience something like that again. It was a time when Trinidad and Tobago had about 10 or 12 top orchestras. I mean, it was a tough battle going down with each band, But each band was working, each band had their fans, each band respected each other, and everybody was surviving. Everybody was surviving in that small country that we have there. And, you know, it's amazing. There's only one band in Trinidad now. Well, here, always only had one at a time. You know, I'm on this end holding the fort.
Okay.
We, another piece of history, I think, is that last year, my band performed for 4 of Trinidad and Tobago independent balls in the United States. And I think that was a great achievement. My performances with supporting American singers, I think that was something that I would always remember also. And it started from home. But all this was, I will have to say, Bradley managed my music after Beverly left.
Yes.
And Bradley's skill and knowledge put my name right in the right bracket, where American music, soul music, and even our own music is concerned. So Bradley is much more than a steel band man. Bradley is one of Trinidad's greatest musicians. He's a jazz musician, he's a mathematician, he's a scholar. He teachers in the government training college had to pass through Bradley to qualify to be a teacher. Oh man, Bradley, there's too much to say about this guy. And when Bradley died, all I'm hearing is he arranged this and he arranged that and he's a steel band man, da, 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 da. Bradley was so many things, so many great things. It's incredible.
After Bradley left your band, and of course you're traveling and you're doing different things.
Yeah, well, I traveling. This is where the split actually came, because I started traveling. Decided to.
Well, I think he went to Canada for a while.
He did.
Right.
He tried to form a band at one time, a band called Some Incorporated. It lasted, made one job, and that was it. Again, leadership is very vital. I don't care how great a musician you are. It doesn't take the greatness of a musician to lead a band, or the greatness of a footballer to lead a team. No. It have to be inside there.
Leadership.
You came out here for that. And this is the role I played. I could admit it. This is the role I played.
You see, a leader is a leader,
Right.
right? And if he wasn't a leader, he couldn't pull a band together. Plenty fellas wouldn't. You see, leaders are not people that made, Some leaders are born, because it's not everybody could lead. You know, much bands come up and they fell through. They couldn't make it.
Yeah.
So, really and truly, Clarence is a guy that I glad if they could hold it, he could hold it down. It would be nice to come up here to know I'm playing with Clarence again.
Who arranged your music now that you're in the Bahamas, you're here in the United States, to keep you, in the limelight?
Well, a lot of my arrangements came from Belfast, Alvin Belfast. I don't know if I hardly think you would be aware of who Belfast is, but he also is a very good arranger. And he was here, he lived here for a number of years, and he left me well off when he left to go back to Trinidad to live. Last year, I think it was, he left early last year for Trinidad. He went back home after 27 years.
So you came to the United States, music couldn't support you. What did you decide to do? And then you got back into, you kept the band.
No, I stopped in 85. New Year's Eve 85 was my last gig. And I went into the cab business. I had my own car service. I had my own little luncheonette. I was just carrying on in my own role of having my own. I just couldn't see myself coming to work for you or for Tom. That was alien to me. But I had us a fall right back there. Because when you reach a certain age in this country, you only get what you put in. This is Trinidad. You don't have to do anything in Trinidad, you know, just live there and you get in. It's a horse of a different color here. But anyway, I went into that and I started being pressured by people. I started being pressured by musicians, pressured by friends. People calling me names and things because a man like you in the US, what's wrong with you? I mean, come on. We don't have a band here. We need this, we need that. You know, I went right back into this thing in 2004.
2004.
Oh, Lord. And it isn't easy because I'm not 20, I'm not 19.
Yeah. Because I remember,
it takes a lot out of me right now to do this. And I mean, I don't know how to describe my feeling.
Joey has a very punishing traveling schedule. I mean, he's touring, and I mean, you could go to Trinidad and you see in the flyers and you hang out Fed Street down the road.
Oh yeah, all over. It's the only dance band, the only conventional dance band that is performing right now in Trinidad. There's no other.
Do you see yourself getting into that at this age?
Not really. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. There's a lot more. You have to look for life this time. There's a lot more. I would not. No. I came out here, I wanted to prove a point, you know. But I'm a musician. And there I realized that my leadership qualities and being a musician, it's still in me. And I came back out with this band. And I'm enjoying a little bit of the goodies that go with it, but at the same time, it's a bit stressful, and I have to be very careful how I function in the street. I cannot afford to take on things that is going to give me worries or high blood pressure. I just came from the doctor a few weeks ago, and everything is working properly. I would like it to stay that way, so help me. You know, from what I just heard, everything is okay. You all right?
So you know? I suspect you would be carefully selecting the engagements you
absolutely,
you go to, right?
And carefully true. And I have a very, very, very good group of guys, and I have a nucleus in the band. When I say a nucleus, I have about 5 of the musicians that never missed a rehearsal in the last 3 years, 2 to 3 years.
Plan to do any recordings?
We hope to. Eventually, I would have to put out something new on the CD front. I would have to put out something out. We will. Somewhere this year we're going to do something. If it's a 5 or 6 tune CD or something, but I am going to do something. I think it's required of me to put out something in 2006, since what is on the market right now, it was recorded in 63, 64, and 65.
Now,
but it is selling, and I'm doing better, royalty-wise, than I did when I was at home. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Now, the guys that you have with you, any of those guys came with you from the Bahamas, or played with you from way back when?
No,
was it all new bunch?
No,
of guys?
I have one musician from Trinidad, from the Trinidad band that is with me right now.
Who is that?
One fellow named Lennox Howell. Belfast was with me at home, and he was here. He went back. But before I had 1 or 2 other guys, but men died, you know.
Yeah.
Saxophonist died, this one guitarist died. Yeah.
And Howell plays what in your band?
Huh?
What instrument does he play? Howell, Mr. Howell.
Oh yeah. Lennox is a conga. He's a percussionist.
Okay.
But we could sit back and talk about some days back home. And but some of the guys that with me, fellas that know me and know of me, and yeah, I have a lot of home guys in the band, you know. I have one. The keyboard is from Grenada. The trumpeter is from St. Vincent. Or the sax player in the band, the alto sax. He's from the old band home since in the sponsorship days. Yes, it's really too many. Seriously.
What's his name?
Joseph Alexander, alto sax. He was a member of the police band home. He played. Oh yeah, we have pictures of him. He played alto with me. Yes, alto sax with me. He's playing alto with me right now. Okay. So I actually have 2 members from the Trinidad band here with me.
Okay, great.
Which isn't bad.
That's great.
After all these years.
Yeah.
At least I have two guys. The tenor man died, the guitarist died. Then I have CPO Sergeant. Sergeant is still here, but he's very busy into the
CPO
American
Sergeant?
scene. CPO Sergeant, yeah, guitarist CPO Sergeant.
Yeah, I remember his name being mentioned too, again from that era in the 60s with
Yeah, he
Beverly
did.
Griffith.
He did. Yes. Yeah, he did
Bradley.
an arrangement for Desperados at one time. He arranged for Desperados up here too. Despas USA up here. He did some arrangements for them. Yeah. He's the brother of Les Sargent. Les Sargent used to play guitar for Fitzbone Bryan. Very musical family. Sargent, he's here. This is a lot of people. You see, Joe is a band that have been operating for the last 50 years. He have musicians with him who have been there for 40 years playing in his band. He have musicians who have been there for 20 years. This is a group of guys that I put together here in February 2004 and had them ready for Easter Sunday, our opening gig, which was a tremendous success. What? That means what? Play? No, everybody, yep. It was like a concert. No one dancing, everybody just stood up there and every tune they applaud. It was a different scene. Then we came back last year and we played for that same gig. This year we're not playing for it, we'll be out of town Sunday. And it went on pretty good. And I'm holding on here. I don't know how long I'm going to hold on. I don't know how long I'm going to hold on to this. I really don't know. I don't have an idea how long I'm going to hold on to it. But in the meantime, I intend to put out a CD or two and keep some new material of this new band going.